Hello, welcome and welcome back. Are you a creative professional that knows what it feels like to be in the creative flow, to have that creative energy pulsing through you, just for you to crash really hard after you're done? To pour everything into the work that you're doing to deliver excellent results just to feel depleted at the end? And even though you take time off, you take the weekend off, and then within a few days, you're right back in that cycle all over again. If this sounds familiar, this video is for you because I'm going to show you why you can't stay in the creative flow and what to do about it. Hi, my name is Dina. I am the founder of Creative Wisdom, and I have been a working designer and professional creative for over 25 years. And I know this burnout cycle, this creative, energetic burnout cycle intimately. And I was there most of the time working with Fortune 500 companies, pushing, hustling, and delivered a lot of work and know what it's like to go through this process. I didn't realize what was going on at the time because that is the mindset. It's this hustle culture that helped in some ways and really hindered me in others. And even though I was providing great work, my clients loved it, I was running on empty. I would have these creative bursts of energy. I would push really hard through fatigue. I would push through any sort of burnout. At the end of it, it would just be this intense crash. And I would have to slow down everything. It would take sometimes a month, 2 months to recover and repair, just to be able to do it all over again, thinking this is just how it is, this is how the industry is, and this is just what it takes to be in this field. And then as I've gotten older, as I've understood more, as I've experienced more, there's absolutely a better way, and this does not have to be part of the cycle. And it wasn't until I was called to study energy healing and really look at my nervous system and how to regulate it and how to take these very esoteric woo-woo practices and make them practical, and how to apply it within my own creative process has made a world of difference. I can rest and I can be highly productive and still get all the work done that I want at a high quality. And that changes everything. When I know how to listen to my body, regulate my nervous system, and know the signs so that I know when to ease up and when to shift the cycles. And by doing that, this changes everything, and the quality of work heightens, high performance heightens. I'm able to then really focus in, laser focus, and deliver exactly what I want in the way that I want it. So here's the pattern that I realize that we get stuck in. The first step is that we get creative energy. We get this project that excites us. We get this idea that lights us up, and we feel so inspired. We can't wait to deliver the work. We're on this high. We love everything that we're doing. Everything is inspiring. We go out and we can make all these wonderful connections. And this is a drug. This endorphins that's running through your mind that is exciting you is literally like a drug. And so because of that, we get into this second step where we pour all of that energy into the work. There are no boundaries. All we want to do is focus everything we have. We're so focused on delivering something of creative excellence. And then we get into this next step. You deliver the work, everybody loves it, and externally it is a success. And then you move into depletion. And it's a quiet depletion. It's an expected depletion. You're expected to burn out a little bit because you've put so much energy in it. And this cycle over time starts to deplete us in other ways. It actually erodes something a little bit deeper within us so that we're no longer proud or satisfied of the work that we've just put all this energy into. We feel empty. And we start to build resentment. We start to build frustration because we haven't really identified what's going on underneath. And sometimes we logically want to talk ourselves into just saying, I just need rest. Once I recharge, I'll be fine. This is just the cycle. This is just the way in which this industry works. But you do rest. You get into this next phase of you rest, but it doesn't fix anything. You take a weekend off, you go on vacation for a couple weeks, maybe even a little bit longer, and you come back, and within days, we're right back in that same feeling, that same depletedness, that same level of emptiness in the work. It's not bringing the same satisfaction. And we tell ourselves, we logically tell ourselves and give the excuse that this is just how it is. We take on another project, we get another burst of energy, and then we have a crash. And so we keep this creative depletion cycle, thinking that this is the way it goes. And if you're in it, you've probably told yourself one of these stories. I just need better boundaries. I just need to say no more. I just need a vacation. But here's the truth. Rest alone doesn't fix this, because the problem isn't your workload. The problem is your nervous system. So let me explain what's happening. When we're creating from survival mode, the nervous system is in a threat response. Your body thinks it's under pressure, and it's producing work specifically to meet deadlines, certain expectations within leadership, certain expectations to get approval so that you can move the project through. And everything is to avoid failure and to making sure that your identity stays intact. And when your nervous system is operating in this threat response where everything feels almost on the defense, there's only one type of way you can create with this energy, which is forced energy. Because you're logically telling yourself that everything you're feeling in your body is just a moment and rest will take care of it without looking at other things, we don't really create from source energy. And so the difference is when you're creating from forced energy, we're really in a survival mode thinking. We might not be in the situation we want to be in at work, and we feel a lot of pressure to perform, as opposed to we're in environments that we really are situated for, that, or we've made environments that protect the safety of our creativity, and we can tap into that source creation where those ideas and the inspiration seems limitless and everything is full of potential. And so when we're in this forced energy, in the survival mode, we're pushing, we're grinding, and we're using our willpower to stay focused. And this only works temporarily. And here's the catch. You can deliver excellent work from survival mode. And that is why we don't catch burnout, because we deliver what everybody loves, even though inside we feel depleted. And somehow we say that this relationship, this exchange is totally valid and acceptable. However, over time, the burnout increases and it gets harder and harder to tap into that creative flow. And because your nervous system thinks that it's in threat and it's running on that response, it's using emergency reserves. And so eventually those reserves run out. We have a limited supply of energy, even though it is limitless in regards to what we can actually do. We do have a physiological body. We have a mind that needs to rest. We have a body that needs to rest. And we have to do this in a certain way so that we don't crash out. So here's what survival mode creation feels like. Survival mode creation feels like there's always this external pressure. There's deadlines, client expectations to get started, even sometimes when it's not there. We always feel like there's this pressure to perform. Survival mode creation means that it's really hard to turn off work thoughts. Even when you're exhausted, your mind is running, you're overthinking things, you're questioning things. It's consuming you. Resting is almost a waste of time, that you should be acting and doing, and there's this forensic energy that makes you not want to sit down and relax. You always need to be working on something, doing something, or you've booked your schedule so much that you don't have any time to relax or rest. You delivering great work and feeling nothing in the process or the joy of creating and delivering. And it's just, what's next? What's the next thing to do? How do I keep moving? How do I keep producing like a factory? Survival mode creation looks like crashing after really big projects and needing a lot longer to recover than you're allowing yourself to. If this describes you in a place where you're creating from survival mode, the reason that rest won't fix it alone is because your nervous system is dysregulated, and there's an underlying belief system that's pushing your physiology in your body to move in a certain way that is in an antithesis to source creation. It's not being able to tap into some life force, it's forced energy. So now I want to show you what the alternative looks like. When you're creating from source, your system is regulated, you feel calm, you feel peaceful about the decisions that you're making, you're intuitive, you're using your logic, and there's this beautiful mixture of how the creative process is allowing to unfold for you. Your body feels safe. We can handle pressure and responsibility, but it doesn't feel like it's activating any sort of threat response. So we're not anxious, we're not worried, and we have creative expression and expansion to explore without feeling that inner critic coming back in. And so when your nervous system is regulated, you have access to a completely different type of energy, which is what has been coined as this flow energy. And it's really this energy that's flowing in you that just allows you to move without getting stuck in blocks. It's not having obstacles, or if there is a perceived obstacle, you see it more like some fun challenge to figure out than something that stops you in your tracks or something that triggers your response system in a way. In source creation, you're not pushing, you're not forcing anything to come through. You're allowing it to come through, knowing it's going to come through in the time it needs to, because you always deliver because you're a professional. You're allowing intuitive insights to come through to go and research and discover and develop. And you're creating from a fullness. You're creating from a place where you feel centered, well cared for, well slept, well nourished, and you're not from depletion and tired. And you can be tired in a small, mild sense, but when we feel so full and when we feel so depleted and empty and we just can't think of anything, this is a really big sign we need to watch for. You're intrinsically motivated. You create because it feels aligned. When you create from a place of source, you're able to turn off work thoughts when you're done. You're able to separate and detach from work, knowing that there's a time and place to think about that. And then you go back to you and your life and your priorities and what you want to focus on. When you're creating from source, rest actually is restorative. You don't feel like you're wasting time, and you understand how you can leverage rest to rejuvenate, to allow new thoughts to come in, because you're processing and you're allowing your mind to clear, and you're allowing an openness for insights to drop in. When you create from source, you're able to finish projects and feel energized, not depleted. You're proud of what you've done, and you can step away from it and detach and allow yourself to not emotionally get too invested and come back to yourself. Creating from source allows you to recover and not crash out. It allows you to take those moments of rest, knowing how valuable they are, allowing you to come back into flow, and that becomes sustainable. We have an ebb and flow, and you see the value of full rest, being able to shut everything down or to redirect your energy and not be so fragmented and attached to so many things in your creative work. But here's the thing. You can't access source creation when your nervous system is dysregulated. No matter how many affirmations you want to say, no matter how many productivity tools that you use, you have to listen to your body, and you have to allow those natural cycles in your body to govern how you move. Because when your nervous system thinks it's under threat, it actually shuts down your intuitive access and your creative expansion just to keep you safe. And you're going to focus in on the worries, the anxieties, and what's going on that isn't working, as opposed to allowing things to happen, feeling safe, knowing that you're going to handle what it is that you need to handle, and letting the creative process come through, even when things are challenging, even when there's pressure, even when you have deadlines. After going through these cycles so many times, here's what I understood, and this is what I want to share with you. You are not bad at creating boundaries. You are not lazy. And you're not burnt out because you work too much. You're burnt out because your nervous system is dysregulated, being in survival mode, thinking that all of the pressures, all of the nuances within corporations, within your creative department have more weight. The way that you look and how you showcase yourself and how you perform at work has more weight than the actual work itself and the creative process and what it is that you do and the value that you have. The real heart of it is that you can't think your way out of dysregulation. It's not just a mindset shift, but it's allowing your mind to listen to your body and working in tandem with your body. So when your body is signaling to you that it's tired, that it's exhausted, even though your mind is sharp and it can still keep going, you have to pay attention to that and take a pause so that everything is in alignment, so that your body has just as much energy in it with your mind to keep going. And it goes vice versa. Our minds can overthink and exhaust us, give us headaches, make us tired, make us extra hungry. And we have to listen to that, even though our body wants to keep going, our body wants to keep pushing. And this is what alignment actually is, that we're regulating ourselves, we're regulating how we think, how we perceive our situations, our emotions, and our well-being, so that we know how much energy to put in and how much energy to keep for ourselves. And while creating boundaries is important, you have to understand why you're creating the boundary. If you feel shaky creating boundaries or pushing back at work, then that's not the way to go about it. But you have to understand the boundaries within yourself, more so in how much you take on, how much emotional attachment you have to projects, how much thinking and worrying that you put into unnecessary tasks, how you fragment your thoughts and thinking about things that no longer matter. And that drains your energy. Being able to take a vacation one time a year for a couple weeks isn't going to help. It's an out of balance ratio. We need to find pockets of time to rest and rejuvenate, even during the workday if that's needed, so that you're always optimizing and performing at your high performance for you, so that you're getting the best out of you and that you know how to operate within this without burning out, and you're saving and protecting yourself. And this is how we start regulating our nervous system, that we're building safe environments for ourselves. We're understanding where our limits are and what we can't do without having big announcements. Sometimes it's just as simple as you deciding not to check emails after 7 p.m., when you're done with work, and you don't look at them until the next day, or you're blocking time out for you, or you take a full lunch and you don't sit at your desk, or you don't volunteer for extra projects. And it's not trying to push boundaries on other people, but you're understanding where your capacity is for energy, and you start pulling back and you start replenishing yourself and where you put your energy. And you see that as a currency. You see that as, this is just as important as anything else that I do. This is the most important thing, because everything that we do has energetic frequency behind it. How you talk, how you engage, how you do everything. So we want to shift out of survival mode by understanding it, by being conscious of what it is that we're doing, and then start to shift into this source flow, this source creation flow. I think that creative flow is misunderstood, and it really is the balance between, it's an ebb and flow. Creative flow is an ebb and flow. The solution to nervous system regulation comes through 4 pillars that have been documented by medical journals for many, many years. It goes back even 100 years, if not longer. And so the 4 pillars are your physical, your mental, your emotional, and your spiritual. In the physical pillar, we want to make sure that our body feels safe and grounded to create. We want to make sure that we're active and we're flowing our energy through our body, which means that we're exercising, that we're taking our body and we're making sure that we go for walks, we exercise, and we're literally moving the blood and the circulation in our body. That helps produce better thoughts. And then it helps us also balance mental and emotional. So you actually get a bonus for being physical and working out as part of your regimen. In the mental pillar, we really want to look at calming our anxious thoughts. We want to know that thoughts can fly in, that can hijack our mind, and how to return back to our focus, the creative work that we're doing, or whatever it is at task, and not allow inner critic, self-judgment thoughts that can just fly through to not hijack our mind and distract us from our focus. In the emotional pillar, we want to process our emotions. And so when we get overwhelmed, when we feel pressure, when we get anxious, what practices do we have with our physical, even our mental, to help balance out and process the emotional? When we have feelings that grip us, can we take a moment to relax, to get into peace and calmness, clear our minds, and allow us to make decisions? The 4th pillar is spiritual. And this is, again, another broad pillar for you to look at. How can you access that intuitive intelligence, and how are you connecting to something greater than you? For the spiritual pillar to be accessed, think about like-minded communities that taps into a value system, a belief system, a way of being, a way of connecting. This can change over time, but it's a way that we can feel a deeper sense of connection, a sense of community, a sense of all is one, a sense that we share something that is in a belief of something higher than ourselves, whatever that looks like for you. And when we work on and we develop these four pillars in our life, we regulate our nervous system on a regular basis. And I would push to say that these four elements, if you do nothing else and get nothing else out of this video, is that you look at how do you fill these four pillars on a daily basis. And you don't need to be in a threat response because you're taking care of yourself. This is real self-care. This is real nervous system regulation so that you're always in the right place to create whatever it is that you want in your life. Creative work, your creativity in your life, whatever it is that we're getting out of survival mode and we're getting into source creation mode because we're connecting to ourselves in such a deeper, meaningful way. And this is where we come home to ourselves. This is where we can go anywhere and have any sort of interaction and know that we can regulate and be calm, cool, collected, grounded in any sort of crisis, situation, threat, and be fine. And that's the shift we want to make. And that's when creative flow becomes sustainable. And creative flow to me is this idea that you're always open and you're always thinking, you're always conscious, and you're always able to allow flexibility, let go of things that you don't need to hold on to, and keep moving forward in life. That when we get stuck, we know how to unstuck ourselves. And so you might be thinking at this point, if you've been with me this long, okay, but how do I actually do this? How do I stay in this flow? How do I really make this happen? And so over the next several videos, I'm going to break down these pillars for you. And we're going to get into what does it look like with the physical, with the mental, with the emotional and the spiritual, and then how to build that into your daily creative flow so that it becomes sustainable. And burnout is never, ever a thing. That is no longer in the vocabulary. That is a old, outdated concept and that you never have to touch again. In order for us to keep this creative flow sustainable, we also have to know where we're at in the journey. If you're feeling burnt out, if you're feeling that your nervous system feels a little dysregulated, I've created a quiz to help you figure out what phase of the process you're in, because there are phases over time, from early signs to feeling like you're completely done. And when we know what phase you're in and what point in the journey you're at, then we can target more specifically the tools, the methods, the additional help that you might need to get out of this place, because you don't need to be here. And there's so much more on the other side. So link down below. The Creative Burnout quiz is for you. It's absolutely free. You're going to answer a few questions, put in your email, and there's tons of information sitting right behind that I have put together for you. The goal here is that we are creating, and we're doing it in a way that honors ourselves, honors our natural rhythm, honors who we are as a creative, and never allow burnout to happen again. Thank you so much for being here. I can't wait to share more of this content with you. Make sure that you check out the links below if you want to stay in touch. I'm on socials, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn if you want to connect there as well. And let's get into this really juicy place of source creation. I love you all. Thank you for being here. Take care. See you in the next one. Bye.